Today marked the 10th day of testimony in the trial of the three men accused of murdering Ahmaud Arbery in Brunswick, Georgia. And late this afternoon, the defense rested its case. Our legal analyst, Latoya Williams-Shelton, joins us tonight. Latoya, thank you for being with us. So testimony began this morning with the defendant, Travis McMichael, back on the stand as he was cross-examined by the prosecution. Let's listen to a portion of what he testified to today.
You indicated that you had a pretty good feeling about who stole it.
Yes, ma'am.
And you found out where he lived, is that correct?
Yes.
And you'd been watching him for several days.
Yes.
That was not Mr. Arbery.
No.
Okay, so yesterday, some had criticized that prosecutor for going easy on cross-examining Travis McMichael, the first and the only defendant to take the stand. How do you think she did today? And do you think it was the right move for the defense to have Travis McMichael testify?
I think she did a great job. I think anyone who criticized her yesterday just didn't take into consideration that she had honestly just gotten into her cross. She only had a few minutes. I think the state did a very good job of pulling certain facts out, pulling out inconsistent things that were said when a lot of times the argument is that you may have forgotten a lot later, not that you forgot right 2 hours after the incident happened. I think the main thing that I heard today that was great, which I would be surprised if the state does not pull out in her closing, is asking Travis McMichael specifically, was he doing anything other than running? And you heard him say, no, he was only running. As far as the his decision to testify, I think at the end of the day, somewhat he had to. Do I think that it bettered the case for them? No, I do not. I think that it made it worse.
So what do you think about Gregory McMichael and Roddy Bryan's decision not to testify? Because as I mentioned, the defense has now rested its case, and we did not hear from either of those two defendants.
Right. And you know, I've said from the beginning, I was surprised to see Travis McMichael take the stand. But like I said, I understand why. And I think he kind of had to. But I never thought that either one of them would take the stand. I think that the evidence that has been presented is enough. As far as their standpoint is concerned. And again, one of those things that we take into consideration as defense attorneys is how they'll operate on the stand. We've already heard Bryan be all over the place. As far as Greg McMichael is concerned, I don't know what, what is in his defense attorney's mind and the reason why they elected not to have him testify, but I'm not surprised by it at all.
So jurors today got a chance to hear from neighbors in the Satilla Shores neighborhood where Ahmaud Arbery was shot. Do you think that helped the defense's case?
I don't think so. I mean, at the end of the day, it's smoke and mirrors. It's what a defense attorney's job is to provide some other reasons, some sort of reason for what Travis McMichael did that day. But I think you're going to find the state really bring all of this together in her closing to say that at the end of the day, bringing about neighbors who one neighbor hadn't had anything happen to her personally in 30 years, or another neighbor who possibly had something happen to her, but each and every one of them saying that they do not know for sure whether it was Ahmaud Arbery, number one, and number two, what does that have to do with Travis McMichael and Greg McMichael and Roddy Bryan's actions on that day, and whether or not they actually had the ability to perfect a quote-unquote citizen's arrest.
So when you look at the testimony of the defense witnesses and the state witnesses, who do you think put on the stronger case?
I'd say the state did in this case, and I'm a defense attorney, but the state has been very, very strong in this case, very strong as far as her arguments after three different attorneys, right? Three different defense teams are up and she's up against them. And I think the state has done a really good job in this case of providing their case in chief. I don't think that the defense has provided enough reasonable doubt here.
All right, Latoya Williams-Shelton, we thank you for your analysis tonight. The jury has been released for the day and due back in the courtroom Monday morning when closing arguments are scheduled to get underway.